Welcome to TheatreWorks Community Players live stream presentation of George Bernard Shaw's St. Joan, Scene 5. Since we are only doing one scene, I want to set the stage. The play is set during the latter part of the 100 Years' War between England and France. At the outset of the play, France is not doing well. Charles VII is the presumptive heir to the French throne, but was disinherited by his father in favor of King Henry V of England. He was derisively referred to as the King of Bourges, the only population center under French control. The French were besieged by the English at Orleans. The English, derisively called goddams by the French, did not have enough resources to take the town, and the French, under the command of Jacques Dunois, could not break the siege. Enter Joan, a charismatic teenage peasant girl who, by force of will, made her way to Charles and convinced him to send her to Orleans. With the aid of her unshakable faith and inspiration, the French attacked and lifted the siege. A string of victories followed, with Joan's inspiration leading the way, assisted by such French soldiers as Gilles de Rais, known as Bluebeard, and La Hire, whose real name was Etienne de Vignoles. Eventually, they gained control of the Cathedral of Reims, where Charles was crowned officially by the Archbishop, Renaud Chartres. The action picks up at a meeting of the above people after the coronation. The group is discussing their options and what they should do next. Enjoy the show. Please click on the link in the description to the donate page of our website and help us keep community theater alive. Tune in 2 weeks for Robbie Hendrix and Demi Richardson doing a musical variety show. Thank you for joining us.
Come, Joan, you have had enough praying. After that fit of crying, you will catch a chill if you stay here any longer. It is all over. The cathedral is empty and the streets are full. They are calling for the maid. We have told them that you are staying here alone to pray, but they want to see you again.
No, let the king have all the glory.
He only spoils the show, poor devil. No, Joan, you have crowned him and you must go through with it. Come, it will be over in a couple of hours. It is better than the bridge at Orleans, eh?
Oh, dear Dunois, how I wish it were the bridge at Orleans again. We lived at that bridge.
Yes, faith, and died too, some of us.
Isn't it strange, Jack? I'm such a coward. I'm frightened beyond words before a battle, but it's so dull afterwards when there's no danger. Oh, so dull.
You must learn to be abstemious in war, just as you are in your food and drink, my little saint.
Dear Jack, I think you like me as a soldier likes his comrade.
You need it, poor innocent child of God. You have not many friends at court.
Why do all these courtiers and knights and churchmen hate me? What have I done to them? I've not asked for anything for myself except that my village shall not be taxed, for we cannot afford war taxes. I brought them luck and victory. I have set them right when they were doing all sorts of stupid things. I have crowned Charles and made him a real king, and all the honors he's handing out have gone to them. Then why do they not love me?
Simpleton, do you expect stupid people to love you for showing them up? Do blundering old military dugouts love the successful young captains who supersede them? Do ambitious politicians love the climbers who take the front seats from them? Do archbishops enjoy being played off their own altars even by saints? Why, I should be jealous of you myself if I were ambitious enough.
You are the pick of the basket here, Jack. The only friend I have among all these nobles. I'll wager your mother was from the country. I'll go back to the farm when I've taken Paris.
I am not so sure that they will let you take Paris.
What?
I should have taken it myself before this if they had all been sound about it. Some of them would rather Paris took you, I think. So, take care.
Jack, this world is too wicked for me. If the goddams and the Burgundians do not make an end of me, the French will. Only for my voices I should lose all heart. That is why I had to steal away to pray here out alone after the coronation. I'll tell you something, Jack. It's in the bells I hear my voices. Not today when they all rang. That was nothing but jangling. But here in this corner, where the bells come down from the heaven and the echoes linger, or in the fields where they come from a distance through the quiet of the countryside, my voices are in them. Hark, do you hear them? Dear child of God. Just what you said. At the half hour they will say, be brave, go on. At the 3/4 they will say, I am thy help. But it is at the hour when the great bells goes after, God will save friends.
That is true. Well, your majesty is an anointed king at last. How do you like it?
I would not go through it again to be emperor of the sun and the moon. The weight of these robes. I thought I should have dropped when they loaded that crown onto me. And the famous oil they talked so much about was rancid. Whew! The archbishop must nearly be dead. His robes must have weighed a ton. They are stripping him still in the vestry.
Your majesty should wear armor oftener. That would accustom you to heavy dressing.
Yes, the old jibe. Well, I'm not going to wear armor. Fighting is not my job. Where is the maid?
Sire, I have made you king. My work is done. I'm going back to my father's farm.
Oh, are you? Well, that will be very nice. A healthy life, you know.
But a dull one.
You will find the petticoats tripping you up after leaving them off for so long.
You will miss the fighting. It's a bad habit, but a grand one. And the hardest to break yourself of.
Still, we don't want you to stay if you would really rather go home.
I know well that none of you will be sorry to see me go.
Well, I shall be able to swear when I want to, but I shall miss you at times.
Lahire, in spite of all of your sins and swears, we shall meet in heaven, for I love you as I love Patu, my old sheepdog. Patu could kill a wolf. You will kill the English wolves until they go back to their country and become good dogs of God. Will you not?
You and I together. Yes.
No, I shall only last a year from the beginning.
What?
I know it somehow.
Nonsense.
Jack, do you think you will be able to drive them out?
Yes, I shall drive them out. They beat us because we thought battles were tournaments and ransom markets. We played the fool where the goddams took war seriously. But I have learnt my lesson and taken their measure. They have no roots here. I have beaten them before and I shall beat them again.
You will not be cruel to them, Jack.
The goddams will not yield to tender handling. We did not begin it.
Jack, before I go home, let us take Paris.
Oh, no, no. We shall lose everything we have gained. Oh, don't let us have any more fighting. We can make a very good treaty with the Duke of Burgundy.
Treaty?
Well, why not? Now that I'm crowned and anointed, oh, that oil. Archbishop, the maid wants to start fighting again.
Have we ceased fighting then? Are we at peace?
No, I suppose not. But let us be content with what we have done. Let us make a treaty. Our luck is too good to last, and now is our chance to stop before it turns.
Luck? God has fought for us, and you call it luck? And you would stop while there are still Englishmen on this holy earth of France?
Maid, the king addressed himself to me, not to you. You forget yourself. You very often forget yourself.
Then speak you, and tell him that it's God, not God's will that he should take his hand from the plow.
If I am not so glib with the name of God as you are, it is because I interpret his will with the authority of the church and of my sacred office. When you first came, you respected it, and would not have dared to speak as you are now speaking. You came clothed with the virtue of humility, and because God blessed your enterprises accordingly, you have stained yourself with the sin of pride. The old Greek tragedy is rising among us. It is the chastisement of hubris.
Yes, she thinks she knows better than everyone else.
But I do know better than any of you seem to, and I'm not proud. I never speak unless I know I'm right.
Ha ha.
So,
How do you know you are right?
Well, I always know. My voices?
Oh, your voices, your voices. Why don't the voices come to me? I am king, not you.
They do come to you, but you do not hear them. You have not sat in the field in the evening listening for them. When the angelus rings, you cross yourself and have done with it. But if you prayed from your heart and listened to the thrilling of the bells in the air after they stopped ringing, you would hear the voices as well as I do. But what voices do you need to tell you what the blacksmith can tell you, that you must strike while the iron is hot? I tell you we must make a dash at Compiègne and relieve it as we relieved Orleans. Then Paris will open its gates. Or, if not, we'll break through them. And what is your crown without your capital?
That is what I say too. We shall go through them like a red-hot shot through a pound of butter. What do you say, bastard?
If our cannonballs were all as hot as your head, and we had enough of them, we could conquer the earth, no doubt. Pluck and impetuosity are good servants in war, but bad masters. They have delivered us into the hands of the English every time we had trusted to them. We never know when we are beaten, and that is our great fault.
You never know when you're victorious, and that is a worse fault. I shall have to make you carry looking glasses into battle to convince you that the English have not cut off all your noses. You would have been besieged in Orleans still, you and your councils of war, if I had not made you attack. You should always attack. And if you only hold on long enough, the enemy will stop first. You don't know how to begin a battle, and you don't know how to use your cannons. And I do.
I know what you think of us, General Joan.
Oh, never mind that, Jack. Tell him what you think of me.
I think that God was on your side. For I have not forgotten how the wind changed and how our hearts changed when you came. And by my faith, I shall never deny that it was in your sign that we conquered. But I tell you as a soldier that God is no man's daily drudge and no maid's either. If you are worthy of it, he will sometimes snatch you out of the jaws of death and set you on your feet again. But that is all. Once on your feet, you must fight with all your might and all your craft. For he has to be fair to your enemy too. Don't forget that. Well, he set us on our feet through you at Orleans. And the glory of it has carried us through a few good battles here to the coronation. But if we presume on it further, and trust to God to do the work we should do ourselves, we shall defeat it and serve us right.
But
Shh! I have not finished. Do not think, any of you, that these victories of ours were won without generalship. King Charles, you have said no word in your proclamations of my part in this campaign. And I make no complaint of that, for the people will run after the maid and her miracles, and not after the bastard's hard work finding truth for her and feeding them. But I know exactly how much God did for us through the maid, and how much he left me to do by my own wits. And I tell you that your little hour of miracles is over, and that from this time on, he who plays the war game best will win, if luck is on his side.
if and ands were pots and pans, there'd be no need for tinkers. I tell you, bastard, your art of war is no use, because your knights are no good for real fighting. War is only a game to them, like tennis and all the other games. They make rules as to what is fair and what is not fair, and heap armor on themselves and on their poor horses to keep out the arrows. And when they fall, they can't get up and have to wait for their squires to come and lift them to arrange about the ransom with the man that has poked them off their horse. Can't you see that all the like of that is gone by and done with? What use is armor against gunpowder? And if it was, do you think men that are fighting for France and for God will stop to bargain about ransoms as half your knights live by doing? No, they will fight to win. And they will give up their out of their own hand into the hand of God when they go into battle, as I do. Common folks understand this. They cannot afford armor and cannot pay ransoms. But they followed me half naked into the moat and up the ladder and over the wall. With them it is my life for thine, and God defend the right. You may shake your head, Jack, and Bluebeard may twirl his billy goat's beard and cock his nose at me. But remember the day your knights and captains refused to follow me to attack the English at Orleans? You locked the gates to keep me in, and it was the townsfolk and the common people that followed me and forced the gate and showed you the way to fight in earnest.
Not content with being Pope, Joan, you must be Caesar and Alexander as well.
Pride will have a fall, Joan.
Oh, never mind whether it is pride or not. Is it true? Is it common sense?
It is true. Half of us are afraid of having our handsome noses broken, and the other half are out paying off their mortgages. Let her have her way, Dunois. She does not know everything, but she has a good hold of the right end of the stick. Fighting is not what it was, and those who know least about it often make the best job of it.
I know all that. I do not fight in the old way. I have learned the lesson of Agincourt, of Poitiers, and Crécy. I know how many lives any move of mine will cost. And if the move is worth the cost, I make it and pay the cost. But Joan never counts the cost at all. She goes ahead and trusts to God. She thinks she has God in her pocket. Up to now, she has had the numbers on her side, and she has won. But I know Joan. And I see that someday she will go ahead when she only has 10 men to do the work of 100. And then she will find that God is on the side of the big battalions. She will be taken by the enemy, and the lucky man who makes the capture will receive 16,000 pounds from the Earl of Hendrix.
16,000 pounds? Hey, laddie, they haven't offered that for me. There cannot be so much money in the world.
There is in England. And now tell me, all of you, which of you will lift a finger to save Joan once the English have got her? I speak first for the army. The day after she has been dragged from her horse by a goddam or a Burgundian, and he is not struck dead, the day after she is locked in a dungeon and the bars and bolts do not fly open at the touch of St. Peter's angel, the day when the enemy finds out that she is as vulnerable as I am and not a bit more invincible, she will not be worth the life of a single soldier to us. And I will not risk that life, much as I cherish her as a companion in arms.
I don't blame you, Jack. You are right. I'm not worth one soldier's life if God lets me be beaten. But France may think me worth my ransom after what God has done for her through me.
I tell you I have no money. And this coronation, which is all your fault, has cost me the last farthing I can borrow.
The church is richer than you. I put my trust in the church.
Woman, they will drag you through the streets and burn you for a witch.
Oh, my Lord, don't say that. It is impossible. I, a witch?
Peter Cauchon knows his business. The University of Paris has burnt a woman for saying that what you have done was well done and according to God.
But why? What sense is there in it? What I have done is according to God. They could not burn a woman for speaking the truth.
They did.
But you know that she was speaking the truth. You would not let them burn me.
How could I prevent them?
You would speak in the name of the church. You are a great prince of the church. I would go anywhere with your blessing to protect me.
I have no blessing for you while you are proud and disobedient.
Why will you go on saying things like that? I'm not proud and disobedient. I'm a poor girl and so ignorant that I don't know A from B. How could I be proud? And how can you say that I'm disobedient when I always obey my voices? Because they come from God.
The voice of God on earth is the voice of the church militant, and all the voices that come to you are the echoes of your own willfulness.
It is not true.
You tell the archbishop in his cathedral that he lies, and yet you say you are not proud and disobedient.
I never said you lied. It was you that as good as said my voices lied. When have they ever lied? If you will not believe in them, even if they are only the echoes of my own common sense, Are they not always right? And are not your earthly counsels always wrong?
It is a waste of time admonishing you.
It always comes back to the same thing. She is right, and everyone else is wrong.
Take this as your last warning. If you perish through setting your private judgment above the instructions of your spiritual directors, the church disowns you and leaves you to whatever fate your presumption may bring upon you. The bastard has told you that if you persist in setting up your military conceit above the counsels of your commanders,
To put it quite exactly, if you attempt to relieve the garrison at Compiègne without the same superiority in numbers you had at Orleans,
the army will disown you and will not rescue you. And His Majesty the King has told you that the throne has not the means of ransoming you.
Not a penny.
You stand alone, absolutely alone, trusting to your own conceit, your own ignorance, your own headstrong presumption, your own impiety, and hiding all these sins under the cloak of a trust in God. When you pass through those doors into the sunlight, the crowd will cheer you. They will bring you their little children and their invalids to hill. They will kiss your hands and feet and do what they can, poor simple souls, to turn your head and madden you with self-confidence that is leading you to your own destruction. But you would be nonetheless alone. They cannot save you. We, and we only, can stand between you and the stake at which our enemies have burnt that wretched woman in Paris.
I have better friends and better counsels than yours.
I see that I am speaking in vain to a hardened heart. You reject our protection and are determined to turn us all against you. In future, then, fend for yourself. And if you fail, God have mercy on your soul.
that is the truth, Joan. Heed it.
Where would you all have been now if I had heeded that sort of truth? There is no help, no counsel in any of you. Yes, I am alone on earth. I have always been alone. My father told my brothers to drown me if I would not stay to mind his sheep while France was bleeding to death. France might perish if only our lambs were safe. I thought France would have friends at the court of the King of France, and I find only wolves fighting for pieces of her poor torn body. I thought God would have friends everywhere because He is the friend of everyone. In my innocence, I believe that you who now cast me out would be strong, like strong towers to keep harm from me. But I am wiser now, and nobody is any the worse for being wiser. Do not think you can frighten me by telling me that I am alone. France is alone, and God is alone. And what is my loneliness before the loneliness of my country and my God? I see now that the loneliness of God is His strength. And what would He be if He listened to your jealous little counsels? Well, my loneliness shall be my strength too. It is better to be alone with God. His friendship will not fail me, nor His counsel, nor His love. In His strength I will dare and dare and dare until I die. I will go out now to the common people and let the love in their eyes comfort me for the hate in yours. You will all be glad to see me burnt. But if I go through the fire, I shall go through it to their hearts forever and ever. And God be with me.